What's up, you guys? Second solo episode at this desk. Kind of just turned off the lights, a little mood lighting in here. I started recording a second ago, and my cat, who's at my feet right now, eating my toes, started meowing. One second. Let's get his biscuits up here. Come here, girl. Oh. Come here, girl. Ready? There we go. She was meowing outside and crying to get in this room, so here she is on the couch in the back. And then there's dogs barking outside. Anyway, welcome back. This is episode 5 or 6, I think. Second solo one. I didn't feel like figuring out anyone to zoom in this week or figuring out how to record one later this week just because I'm a little bit busy with work. So you're stuck with me this week. And I want to figure out how to do more of these. It's just like awkward getting used to just sitting in a room by yourself. Well, I guess with Miss Biscuits, but just talking to a camera. But I feel like Theo Von, as if I'm like, yeah, I'm as funny as Theo Von. But Theo Von does them all the time. Tim Dillon does them all the time. So I'm like, hey, I'm of that caliber. Let me do a bunch of solo pods. But I actually have heard people say that like it's good to practice talking like by yourself to a camera like this if you're working in media at all, whether you're doing like comedy or podcasting or anything. They're like it's kind of good just to get used to this. But yeah, anyway, I feel like I have on my little list of things to talk about today. I talked about my first time doing stand-up. I've only done it like twice now because I'm going to open mics. I said it wrong last podcast or 2 podcasts ago. It's the East Room in Nashville every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. I said Wednesday's last pod. But I'm going there every week, signing up for the open mic, trying to get up every week. I'm not getting up every week, but I'm trying. Because I've just heard the odds are better there than going to like a Zanies or something like that, because that was the first one I tried. But I told that story, I think, a couple weeks ago when I had Matt on. But I feel like I didn't talk about it that much. So now that I'm like by myself, I feel like I would dive a little bit more into it. But yeah, that time when I went, I signed up. I was just sitting there praying. I was like, please, God, do not let me get up. And then when they called the lineup, I was like towards the end of it and I was like, that's pretty good. Then they let you go up there and put your name on the list. I was like super close just to walking out. This pod is pretty dated now. This was like 4 weeks ago, but I was like so close to walking out. Then it's like this weird thing. If anyone's watching this that has done an open mic now, it's so weird because it's like everyone in that room is, for the most part, 99% comedians in there, or like aspiring comedians, and everyone is just worried about their material. And it's like, so everyone almost gets the same amount, in my opinion, of like chuckle and bomb. It's just like everyone's kind of bombing, but you kind of understand because like everyone in there is like kind of working on their jokes. Like most of the time, I tried to pay attention when people were up there, but most of the time I'm like in my notebook, just like kind of like marking stuff out, like making notes. But I thought it was so interesting how it was like, as I waited hours, it was like 2 hours to wait to get up. The nerves just kept building and building and building. And then when they called my name, when I had to go up there, legitimately, like there was like 5 to 10 people in the room. So no one noticed it, but my legs were like quivering walking up there. I was like, what if I walk up there and like, I've heard people say when you talk in a room, like in a microphone for the first time, if you've never done it, and I haven't done it since like freaking high school for like a student council thing or something, like talking to a microphone. But I've heard people say like the reverb can make it where you like can't hear. So that was like my biggest fear, was like, what if it's like, I go up there, I say a word, it bounces back off the back of the room, and then I just can't talk. And I was just, all of that got settled like the second the host was like, Jarod Beeman, I went up there like shaky, like right when he shook my hand, it was just like nerves gone. And then it was just like this weird feeling of like, I don't care if anyone in here laughs. And then it flowed for like 4 minutes, mostly bombing, but like 1 or 2 laughs. That was like enough to be like, I'll keep doing this. And then the other one since then, it's been good. It's been about the same. I try to go towards the end of the night. So if the few people that listen to this podcast, if any of you guys come see me, I'm going towards the very end of the set, like the set list. If anyone, if I ever get my name called, like I said, you can put your name where you want on the list. I'm putting it like third to last if I can. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know why. I feel like I just wanted to get a little bit more into detail on that, because like my first episode of this, I was like, this podcast is to document me starting stand-up for any other aspiring comedians that like want, I don't know, to hear someone talk about like the struggles, but like the experiences at the beginning stages of comedy, that I would document it here. And I feel like the last like 3 episodes I've just had like my friends on and we've just been like talking random shit. So I wanted to like dive into that a little bit more. But another thing I was thinking about the other day when I thought about how it's funny that I'm trying stand up now is, I've said before on this podcast, but if this is your first time listening, I work for this podcast called Bussin' with the Boys, which is, you probably know what it is. Some of you guys are Bussin' fans that are watching this. If you've never heard of it, it's this podcast with 2 ex-NFL players, Taylor Lewan and Will Compton. It used to be on Barstool Sports. Now we're with FanDuel Sportsbook. Shout out FanDuel. They pay my salary. So I work for them, and my boss, Taylor, probably like 6 to 8 months ago at the beginning of this year, he randomly was like super adamant on wanting me to get a 6-pack. Not like he didn't actually care, but he's like, dude, could you get a 6-pack? And I was like, no. And he wanted to come up with a bet. I've talked about this a little bit on Bussin' if you're a fan of Bussin', but he wanted me to get the bet was like, what's a good enough punishment if you don't get a 6-pack? Wait, what's a bad enough punishment if you don't get a 6-pack that would motivate you to get a 6-pack? That's what it is. And he threw in $5,000. He's like, if you get a 6-pack by January 1st of 2026, I'll give you $5,000. If you don't get a 6-pack, and then we spent like a couple months coming up with a punishment. It was like skydiving at first, and I was like, that kind of sounds fun. Random stuff like that. But then we landed on 20 minutes of stand-up comedy, which 6 months ago, I was like, I mean, even now, but 6 months ago when I was not aspiring to do this, I was like, that is the worst punishment I could think of, is to have to do stand-up in front of a crowd, let alone 20 minutes is like unreal. The most I've done now is 4, and that felt like an hour. So it is funny because when I started stand-up, when I posted about this and like posted my first clip from this podcast, he was like, are you artfully getting out of this bet where it's kind of a win-win? And I was like, honestly, it wasn't on purpose, but I kind of did just dodge that bet. I tried for a little bit. When he posted about it, a bunch of personal trainers reached out to me, and I work with this guy. Shout out Coach Barnes. If you're watching this, you are a G. He worked with me for a couple months. He still wanted to work with me, but I told him, I was like, dude, like, you were the best. I got really busy and couldn't stick with it. But he lost me like 22 pounds in like a couple months, and he had me on a good track. And then I just got lazy and busy with work. Maybe I'll reach out to you again, Coach Barnes. I apologize. But I gave up like a month ago. But it's funny because that was around the same time that I was like, if I lose this bet, like, I kind of do love stand up. Like, what if I did stand up? Like, what if I tried it before then? And then it's funny that it turned into this thing where it was like, it wasn't that on purpose, but it is funny that if I lose this bet, I do have a 20-minute stand-up show to do at Zany's, he said, at Zany's in Nashville. I don't know when it would be, like January 2026. But Taylor, I apologize for basically ruining our bet, because it was a really good bet when this was a funny punishment. It's still a funny punishment, but now that I'm like, it's kind of my goal to do stand-up now, I kind of just ruined the punishment part of it. Now it's kind of like, oh, Jarod gets rewarded either way. He gets $5,000 and is ripped, or gets to do 20 minutes of stand-up at like a great club in Nashville that I can't even get up at now. But yeah, I don't know why. When I was thinking about like the first open mic and like the first couple open mics I've done, that was one of my first thoughts. It's like, oh, that is kind of funny that like I've had this bet over my head for like a while now that kind of just got destroyed by myself. But yeah, I'm trying to think of something else to talk about. Well, this past weekend, or not this past weekend, but like the weekend before, I went to Vegas with the same boss I was just talking about, Taylor Lewan, and my buddy Jack, who does the social media at Bussin' with the Boys. He was supposed to come on like a week and a half ago when we were in Vegas. We were going to record one out there, and then we got too busy, but he will be on soon. But we went to Las Vegas because Taylor does like this gambling vlog out there, or I do the vlog for him when we're out there, and we like go out with Dana White, go to the baccarat tables at Red Rock Casino, and just like gamble all night and like record it and make a big vlog out of it. And I talked about this a little bit on the podcast that we do with Bussin', like the producers do, called Inside the Bus. But just in case any of you guys haven't heard that, I'll talk about it here because I kind of thought it was a funny story. I didn't realize like how weird it was, what my airport routine. if anyone here is from Georgia and goes to the Atlanta airport a lot, you would feel for me, because they say, like, get to your flight 2 hours early for domestic, 3 hours for international. I didn't realize how stupid that is for normal airports that, like, you can get through in 10 minutes. Like, for example, the Nashville airport. If the line is out the door for security, out the door, you're still getting in like 15 minutes. There's just somehow they're like a godly airport where it's like Atlanta, very little line, takes you an hour and a half to get through. Nashville, it could be freaking cars backed up down the road and you're still getting to your gate within like 20 minutes. So to go to Vegas this past weekend, our flight left at, I think we're boarding at 6:10. So like just call that 6 a.m. I was like, I got to get to the airport at 4 a.m., which is, saying that out loud is so stupid. So I got up at 3:30 in the morning for a 6:10 flight. When I got to the airport at 4 in the morning, it was like kind of a long line to be 4 in the morning. Like the line was full. I timed it. I got to the gate before 4:10. It was like 4:07 or 4:08. So then I just sat there for 2 hours. My whole point being, I've been someone that like over prepares for the airport. Like I said, get there freaking 2-3 hours early for a flight that you will realistically get through the gate in like 10 minutes. I don't know how other airports are in the country. I lived in New York for a little bit, and LaGuardia was like shockingly fast too, where I'd get there like 3 hours early, get to the gate in 30 minutes, just sit there for hours. So I'm kind of curious in the comments if any of you guys like have like a regional airport like that, or not regional, but like an airport in your city that you're like, yeah, it's quick as hell. Like Atlanta might just be the outlier, unless, I don't know, if there's other airports around the country that suck. I think Chicago kind of sucks. The one time I was there, it sucked, but I think there was like construction on it. But yeah, I think that, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anything else for this pod. I don't know how long we've been running, like 14, 15 minutes, maybe after cuts a little bit less, but just wanted to hop on here, try to do a solo one this week. Let me know in the comments down below who you guys want on here. I'm thinking about starting to DM, like how I talked about in the first episode, how I want to have like people that I've produced for or people that I've worked for in the past on here. Let me know who you would want. The first people I'm thinking is like Barstool Sports personalities. The ones I'm just naming completely random people that if they heard this, they'd be like, dude, we do not know each other that well. Like, I'm not doing your podcast. But the ones that come to mind would be like Tommy Smokes from Barstool, Francis Ellis, Nick Terraney, KB or Kyle Bauer. I'm trying to think of like more like those kind of people. I'm going to shoot my shot and like text them because I used to work with a good amount of them. Don't know if I know them good enough to hop on here, but now I'm saying it publicly if they ever hear this. But yeah, I'm going to start trying to message those people where it might be people that you guys are fans of that would want to hear, that you'd want to hear from, rather than just like most of these pods have just been like my friends that I've been having on. And I'll probably keep doing that for a little bit. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're in Nashville, the East Room every Tuesday at 8 p.m. And I'll see you guys next week.